Welcome to the GrayHawk DJC podcast. Madeline, David, how are you?
Good,
Doing
how are
well,
you?
thank you.
So thank you for coming to the show. It's been a long time coming, and you're the first couple on the show, so we've never had that before. It's going to be really interesting, but how about we start off and you guys tell us about yourself, where you guys come from, a little background so people can get to know you.
Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you want, like childhood, where you grew up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So my story, my backstory. Okay, so I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And I moved to the States when I was 15. So I was in South Florida, South Beach to be exact.
Just your family just moved here, or was there a reason?
Yes, my mom.
Okay.
My mom took us when we were younger and just moved us to the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, how's growing up in Florida like?
Well, you know, because I did not speak the language at the time, it was very challenging.
Okay.
But I made it a point that I was going to learn the language in a very short period of time. So I remember, so it was in high school, I was in 9th grade. And so it was very different, right? I walked to school. Sometimes I took the bus. But going back to the language thing, it was funny because I never forget this. I used to come home and I would write new words that I would learn in the language, and I would say, okay, I'm going to make a list. Thinking, you know, ignorant me, I thought that was the way you learn the language. So I had index cards, and I memorized things. But by the second year, in my junior year, I was fluent.
Was there a moment where you realized I can do this?
I always, you know what? For me, it's always been I can do anything. It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I can do anything. I just throw myself out there. Whatever.
So
Whatever happens.
So high school in Miami.
High school and college, yes.
Florida. Okay.
In Florida, I worked at a bank for a long, long time. That was my first corporate job.
Okay.
Before that, I worked 2 jobs. I was 16 and worked at the convention center. And I also worked at a Publix, right? It was Florida, so I was a cashier, and I was the best cashier.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, because I got to be the best at whatever it is that I do.
So it's helpful in Florida to be bilingual then, right? There's a lot of Spanish speakers, obviously.
I mean,
yeah.
98%.
Okay.
So my Spanish was really good, but once I moved to Texas, not so good. I lost it.
Oh my God.
I'm married to David, you know, that doesn't speak the language. It's even, you know, more challenging.
Okay, that's a good segue, Dave. So tell us about yourself now. Where do you come from and all that stuff? Yeah.
Grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Did the typical.
Bucks fan?
Oh yeah, a little disappointed right now, but we're okay.
All right.
You know, as Madeline will tell you, I can watch a game and 5 seconds after it's over, win or lose, I don't even remember the game.
Okay.
So I'm pretty good with that. No, grew up in Milwaukee. Went to school and went to college at a Catholic university called Cardinal Stritch. Got a job in, you know, I'm not going to go back to I had a paper route and all that stuff, but I don't think we need to know about that. But got a job in corporate and was in the financial services industry, and through different promotions and everything else, moved around the Midwest. Lived in Chicago, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and back to Wisconsin, and then back to Chicago, and then I finally, with the company, moved down to Texas in 99.
Okay.
And been here ever since, and kept in my corporate world, and then she came along.
How did you guys, so that's a big question. How did you guys cross paths then? Right.
So through a mutual friend that was getting married. So I guess they were,
You were getting married?
Not me.
Okay, they were getting married.
A mutual friend that was getting married,
right.
I said. And so.
Yeah, it would have been really bad if she was getting married. I'd be really good.
That'd be a really interesting story.
No, that did not happen. She used to work for the same company. We all work for the same company. And so, but I was in Florida. He was in Texas at the time. And then I think they were friends in Chicago, right?
Chicago and Wisconsin, yeah.
Right. And then she moved to Florida. And so she wanted for me to be one of her bridesmaids. And I guess David was one of the groomsmen.
Yeah, I wasn't the usher. I was a groomsman.
Okay.
And so then we met at the rehearsal dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
First time meeting ever.
First time meeting
ever. Did you know
ever.
of each other or anything like that?
No.
No, we didn't know of each other.
Okay.
I still say that I remember there was an awards thing, and I still say that I remember her picture
I
up
can't say
up
I
on
do.
the screen. But she can't say it, and I can't absolutely say it happened or not. But in my mind, it did.
Okay.
But yeah, so I met her, and that was it.
Was it someone saying, "Hey, this is so and so," or did you
No.
walk across the room like in the movies and
So
introduce
okay,
yourself?
I'll drive you through this
Okay.
process, right? So Lisa had always had the perfect friend for me to meet.
This is not the first time she did this then for you.
No.
Okay.
Not always perfect. However, so I flew in. I spent the day with Lisa, and then we were driving to the rehearsal dinner, and then Madeline was in the parking lot on her 98 big old Nextel, flip phone. She had it all going on at that time.
So this is 1998.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
99.
99. Yeah, but the phone probably was from 98.
Yeah.
And
I was not.
and I think I got whiplash.
Wow.
I saw her and I was like, whoop. And
Did she tell you, that's the friend that I want to introduce you to? And you didn't believe her.
no, that's not what was said. In fact, she didn't say a thing until we got into the church for the rehearsal, and she said, "Oh," because I don't think she saw that I saw you. And then she said, "Oh, this is Madeline. This is the one I wanted you to
Yeah.
introduce
What a
you to."
coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Literally, we've been talking ever since.
Talking. We're married for
Well,
21
now,
years.
yeah, but
Who made the first move?
Well, he did.
I
Okay.
did.
Yeah, he did. So he was smooth. So what ended up happening, we were at the rehearsal dinner,
Okay.
so it was at her house. So, it was this tiki hut, right? Really nice. And so I had one guy over here, and I had David over here. This kid was just like obnoxious.
He was a kid.
Yeah. And then here was David being total smooth operator, total Rico Suave. And yeah. And so he was engaging, and so it's like, okay, this way. And so I did, right? And it was amazing. So that night we went dancing, we had a couple of drinks, and then the next day, the wedding, right? And so I had a boyfriend.
Oh, was he at the wedding?
Yep.
Okay. Was he at the rehearsal dinner?
No.
Okay.
That would have been awkward.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I had a boyfriend, but he wasn't serious. But so I didn't really get to talk to David, but I did on my way out. Was it on my way out? Was it on your
No,
way
it was
out?
my way out.
Yeah, I told him, hey, I'll take you to the airport tomorrow. Well, little did I know. I mean, I lived in the Fort Lauderdale area at the time, and he was staying right across the street from the airport, and here I am offering to drive 40 minutes to go take him to the airport. I never showed.
Oh no.
Never came back. So he went home, but he did send me a very nice email that I still have, telling me that he couldn't believe that Lisa had such great friends, and that if I would entertain the idea of long distance relationship.
Did you know she had a boyfriend, or was it
I
just
don't think
something?
he cared.
Well, I knew, but I didn't care.
Okay.
Yeah, he was aggressive.
This is the boldest I've ever been.
So when
Yeah.
you saw her at the wedding with some other guy, did you care? I mean, were you devastated? Or
No, I just I didn't know her that well
Yeah.
at that point. I just kept my distance, and
Okay.
we didn't even really talk at
Were
all.
you eyeing me out?
Nope, I really wasn't. But I just kind of let that happen, and then I was leaving, and then all of a sudden she's running up, and right along with her came her boyfriend, and that was awkward. But we said goodbye, and I said I was staying there at the hotel, and so I just went up to my room, went to the airport.
Yep.
And so, how long were you guys apart then after that? Or
2
when's,
weeks.
When's the last time next time you saw each other?
So let me tell you.
Okay.
No, wait, she'll tell you.
That Monday, I got that email, and so we exchanged numbers then, and we started to talk every night. And my boyfriend wasn't serious, so I dumped him. And so we end up 4th of July weekend. We end up visiting. So I picked him up at the airport, and you know what? 6 months later, he proposed.
Wow.
Yeah.
6 months.
So
6 months to the day.
Backstory to that one. So I think it was probably the 60 days into us going back and forth. We were traveling almost every other week back and forth, right?
Okay.
And one day she says, if a guy can't make his decision up in 6 months, he needs to kind of move on now. Okay. So in September, so met June. September, I bought the ring, waited. December 15th, I asked her to marry me.
Yeah. And then he couldn't wait. I moved here, and he wanted to get married the next month. I'm like, why?
So you're in Texas, she's in Florida.
Yeah.
You ask her to marry, and she moves to Texas.
Yeah, I moved
so
to
she was-
Texas that December.
Yeah, we
and,
drove back after Christmas.
Yeah.
How'd your family or friends think about this whirlwind relationship?
I don't think they really care because we were grown. I mean, I was a single mom. I was 31, right? Yeah, I was 31, so I was not a kid.
Right.
So, I made my decisions. I was on my own for a while.
Okay.
So,
So none of the drama with the family.
Yeah, let's just hold off on that one.
Wait a minute, because that's when I said, because that conversation came up. I don't have time to waste. Listen, I'm in Florida, in Miami, where there's like tons of people, right? Why would I want to be on a long distance relationship with a guy wasting my time? So I just put it out there. I said, if you can't make the decision if a man can make a decision in 6 months, well, we don't need to be doing anything.
Right.
Bye.
Right.
So I mean, I was ready to settle down. He was to me the right person. He had he checked the boxes, every single one of them.
And you had no problems coming to Texas. Have you? You
I
never
had
been?
lived here in 1997. I moved here by myself and my daughter, and I lived here for a year.
That's right.
Yeah, so my sister got sick, and I went back, and I loved it here, and I knew I was coming back at one point. I just didn't know how that would look like.
Okay.
But I didn't care. But shortly after, in 2000, I moved back.
All right. So you guys are newly married. You're in Dallas.
Yep.
What year is this now?
2001.
We got married in 2001.
Yeah, 2001.
Okay.
Yeah, right after 9/11.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And then, so what's next for you guys now? Newlyweds.
For us at that time?
At that time.
Oh
So what's
my gosh,
going on?
it's getting to know each other, really. Because we didn't live together, we didn't live close, we didn't spend that
Right.
much time dating. But it was great. I mean, he was amazing to our daughter, that today calls him dad. So he was, I don't know, we were working for corporate. We were not going to have any more children. We decided to buy a little puppy. And shortly after, I was pregnant with our second.
What part of Dallas were you at this time?
In Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time.
All right. And you both
know.
work same company still, or different
No,
companies
at the time, yes, we were working for the same company.
Well, actually, this was kind of interesting. So
yeah, you're right.
I probably 30 days after we got married, I was being laid off as duplicity of management.
Okay.
And she was at the time, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was with. I did not transfer with the company.
Yeah.
I went, but I had a job with Sprint at
Okay.
the time, but shortly after, like 4 months later, the company called me back, and I went back to work for the company. But then David had gotten laid off from the company.
Okay.
So I moved back with the company.
Layoff number 1.
Yeah. Yes.
So is this the time because you guys are a very unique couple. You guys also are in business together,
Yes.
right? Is this the time where the ideas of being
No.
entrepreneurs starts?
No,
Not at all.
Not at all.
All right,
no,
so-
we were
hardcore corporate people.
Yeah, and I always said, we were making pretty good money. And I said, most small businesses don't make what you make.
Right.
So it really wasn't something we were looking to do. Fast forward a little bit, the infamous 2000 6 through 8 period happened.
Right.
And we kind of thought that Madeline was going to get laid off. At this point, I thought I was secure as all get out, right? Little did I know. So we dabbled, and she said, hey, I'm going to kind of do this because we saw an issue and a need in our industry where closings were kind of falling off at the table, right?
Okay. What industry was this again?
We were in the mortgage industry.
Okay.
So Madeline was running a sales team at that time, and I was in the wholesale space.
Okay.
So she said, I'm just going to learn about this and figure out if I can, if I get laid off, I can supplement my income a little bit. And I'm like, this is a great idea.
Okay.
And funny thing happened is I got laid off again. And so, so that happened, and I bounced really quick, got another job, and then in October of 2008, Madeline got laid off. And then in November of 2008, BNN Services was born, and we launched. And I guess even back then we did things slightly different because when the technology we were using, the guy came out to train us and everything, and he's like, "Oh, you're in Class A
building."
And I'm thinking, corporate background. Well, yeah, we're in Class A corporate building. Because most people were like, you guys run it out of their garage.
I know.
So what is a Class A building? Can you explain that?
Like a high rise,
Okay.
nice building, corporate setting, right?
Yeah.
Looks good. So that was our first kind of like, I guess we do things a little different. And then that really took off. In the first 6 months, we brought on a guy that was working part-time for us. He was an older guy. And
so explain what the business is now, I guess.
so we're, at the time, it still is, we're a national mobile closing service. So we work with title companies, servicers, lenders, and we coordinate their legal document signings remotely. And so we actually have contractors that are notaries or signing agents, and they go to wherever the signer wants to sign their documents. Now it's a little different because we actually have the infusion of remote online. But just to take a step back, we hired this guy. He introduced us to this person that was starting a new company and was in the modification space. And at the time, we were very much geographically Texas.
Okay.
In a matter of about 6 months, we were suddenly national.
How'd that happen? How'd you scale so high?
It wasn't by literally something we went out to do. We were introduced to this gentleman who was running a new company, and he used to work with another corporate client, and they were in the servicing space. And so back then, if you can remember, people were not able to afford their mortgages because values were depreciating, payments, yada yada yada. And he was in the modification business, and at the time, modifications had to be notarized. So he came to us, and he had no process flow. He was very manual. We kind of created the process flow for him and got him to be a little bit more with the times technology.
Okay.
And we went from doing a couple closings, 50 to 100 closings. So suddenly we're doing, 400 or 500.
Okay, so let's take a step back.
Yeah.
So you're both unemployed. Is that why you started this business?
No, she got laid off.
Okay.
But we started the business. We kind of knew we were going to go down this path at some point because we found the secret sauce of delivering exceptional service for the people that were ultimately the benefactors of the closing, which would be the loan officers and the title companies, right? Because they're coordinating all this, and we really felt that our knowledge in the industry could help deliver this amazing experience. And I think 14 years later, time will say that we've done that successfully.
Right.
But yeah, so it was interesting, and then we just started growing. And then we moved out of that space, and we partnered with a title company to use some of their space, that title company ended up folding into a corporate office with their title company, and we ended up taking over that space. And in 2012, we were very fortunate. We grew out of a lot of challenges, and we ended up, at that time, we had 10 employees, and we were doing 1,300 closings a month.
What was the name of this company? Or is it still around?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, BNN Services,
BNN.
Bilingual Notary Network.
Okay.
Interesting thing is only about 3% of all of our business actually is bilingual, but it was a great idea.
It's a sexy name.
It was a good name, and it worked for us. But yeah, so that, and then we just started growing, and then the market shifted again. So we kind of at that point launched with another software, and we kind of we were able to reduce our headcount without because the technology was better, and then we just kind of methodically grew through the process again. And during that time, we were asked to help build a system, and that didn't end up where it was supposed to, but all things end up going full circle, and we're re-engaged with those people again and their technology, so that's kind of funny. But then we started realizing, hey, you know what? We've done this well, and then we catapulted to about 2017 or about 2016, and Madeline was a workout enthusiast, and not quite sure how these conversations started in the sauna, but
Okay.
that's where it started, and suddenly, hey, I think I want to open up a fitness studio. And
All
I'm
right.
thinking, we know nothing about fitness, but let's do that.
So the first company, though, did you use your own money to start that
Yes.
company?
Yes.
Okay, so no funding
No.
or
No.
loans or anything like
No.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
In that particular business, actually, it was profitable month one.
How did you get your first clients? Did you already know what you were going to do? Or?
So the first clients I had a year prior, I had established I wanted to go and see what was happening at the closing table. It was pure curiosity. Okay,
Right.
so I went ahead and went through the same process that a notary would go, the signing agent. Get your stamp. Put yourself out there in some of the networking websites, and you will get assignments. And so I would go myself at night after work and encounter that, right? And that's how I was able to do my research in person and see where the gaps were in the process. And I had come back and said to David, we can do this better, And so through the levels of customer experience, we decided that was what we were going to focus on. So when I finally got laid off the following year, I called up on those people, and they gave me a shot, and literally we never spent a dime advertising
Just
our
complete
business.
cold calls.
It was literally referrals.
Okay.
The best way of getting your name out there. And our business grew based on reputation, based on delivering the very best customer experience, and that was how everybody wanted to come our way. And every time the escrow officers were moved, they would move to another company, they would bring us with them. And there we met other people, right? And we would give them the same levels of service, no matter how much business they gave us, whether it was 2 or whether it was 100, we delivered the same level of service. So they loved it. They can count on us. They knew that if it was midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning, it did not matter. We were there for them.
So what was your average day like when you were running this company? So you wake up and...
You know what? I got to tell you, in 2011, it was a very tough time, right? We opened in 2008, but my mom died in 2011. I never forget that I never had the opportunity to really mourn her, right? Because we were working while my mom was being prepared to be presented, right? Or cremated. So I never forget that I was answering the phone while I was getting ready to go to my mom's viewing. And so it was constantly, same thing happened. My phone was always ringing. Graduation, phone ringing. Church, phone ringing. And I would step out and answer it. So I was always available for my clients.
Right.
You know, so.
And was it hard working together as a couple? Like, how did that dynamic?
Well, at this point, we're working together, but I wasn't working in the business. I was kind of in the back office portion. But even then, it was funny because when we became national, and we'd have signings happening at 9:00 Pacific time. Well, that's 11:00 our time.
Right.
I'll never forget. We were sitting. It was New Year's Eve, and we had people at our house, and literally, we were on the computers, and they were having a great time, right? But we had clients to take care of. So our commitment, and I think this is where we became, not where we became, is what continues to make us really successful, is that we have a really good work ethic, and we just, it bothers us if it doesn't end well, right? And there's a lot of people in any walk of life that, it didn't happen the way it was supposed to be. So be it. Not for us. We took it personal, and we'd have to find out the reason why so that we could report back to our clients, hey, this is what's going on. And if that meant, you ask what a normal day was like. I mean, it was from
7 days a week.
Yeah, 6 a.m. until it was done. And I remember we would be hanging out with the girls on a Friday night, and at 9:00 we'd get a phone call, and it would be like, "Hey, I got a signing that's tomorrow morning at 8. Can you help us?" And we're like, "Well, give us a little bit, and we'll get back to you."
Right.
And literally in less than an hour, we'd call them back and say, "Hey, just send the docs. We got it." And
so there was no adjustment period between a husband and wife balancing family.
He didn't work. He was part-time at first, and I think the transition happened about over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because,
right as we were about to open this.
Yeah, so it was about 5 years ago. He got let go from corporate, and he probably won't like this, but that is who he is. He's a corporate guy, right? And so at the time, and he was not happy, and I told him, I said, just, you know what, if you're gonna work for somebody that hard that doesn't appreciate you, let's do it for us.
Right.
At least we can do it together. And I think that he took that to heart, and that's exactly what he did. And I think he sabotaged every single interview he had.
I had great offers, and I would sabotage them. I didn't knowingly know I was doing it at the time, but then I look back and I'm like, okay, I had that job. That was mine. All I had to do is say yes, and I found a reason to tell him I really didn't want to.
Right.
And it was the best decision that actually was ever not really made, but made. And then, right after that, we opened up the Hook.
Right. So you guys have a good business, and then you decide to start another one.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did that happen?
Well, we had money to do it, so I wanted to do something much more fun, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Fun, interesting word.
Fun, right? And so we looked at several franchises, but after I did my research, I wanted to do something for women specifically, right? And there was one franchise out there that caught my attention. I visited. We got, we went through the process. But then we got busy again at the BNN office, and I'm like, okay, I have to put that on hold and focus on this. And a year later, I went ahead and circled back with the same company, but then things didn't align, right? And so we were, why don't you just open your own thing? And all you have to do is just dare me. And I will take the dare.
Sure.
And I had no idea how hard this was going to be. I had no clue, seriously. Again, we funded the business ourselves.
Right.
That's the way David operates. If we're going to do this, we're not going to borrow the money. We are going to go ahead and and do what we have to do. And so we did, and here we are almost 5 years later.
And how do I say this? You have no previous experience running a fitness center, right?
None.
Okay.
It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
How's that first year like?
It was brutal.
Okay.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
What was the hardest part, I guess? Yeah.
It's learning the industry, right? And then find out that there's no work ethic within that industry. And I say that because that's what I experienced. I am certain that there is that small percentage that have that they really care and focus on really servicing the consumer. But my experience was not that. My experience was, other than my coach, right, that's been with me, my head coach that's been here for 4 years, the rest of them, I'm not really certain what they were looking for, right? I mean, and when you work at a privately owned fitness studio, you have to learn everything. And it is hard work. And you don't have the luxury of a blueprint from a franchise, right? So you have to create your blueprint. And so we did exactly that. And so I had to submerge myself relatively quickly into learning from the very best out there, because there was nobody local that I can trust to teach me right. You know, and that went from operations, marketing, messaging, oh my gosh. But it was the best lesson experience, the best. That really threw me out there, shake me around. I mean, it just did everything that I probably would have not done had I known.
Right.
But it made me the very best at what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's running the company, and then Dave, you're running B&N.
Right.
Okay. So you have two businesses juggled now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Which I'm thinking that's really not how it works. But no, I'm going to echo something that she said. From an entrepreneurial perspective, absolutely the greatest experience I think we could ever have had. It was hard. I would say that the first year, while it was challenging, it was also extremely rewarding. First of all, the concept is ours. You can't find what we put together. You can't find the pieces of equipment that we use together in any other fitness studio in the world. When we were working with these pieces of equipment, people kept asking us in all big pieces of equipment, they bring in their certified trainers, and we walked them through what we envisioned, and each one of them said to us, "How did you come up with this idea? It does not exist, and what you're putting together is exactly what should happen." So it's interesting. No, we didn't have any experience, but one of the things that I will say that Madeline has probably better than most is she has a really good gut feel on how something should be. And it was interesting because I was just here saying, okay, we can do this. And I think Madeline said it. Every mistake we made was a learning opportunity for us. If I could do certain things over again, simple things, like there's a light that is tied to all the other lights that I wish I would have put another switch in, right? I mean, you don't think those things because you don't know this type of business, right? And I think that what it really taught us, though, is how to build a business. Our first business, I got to be honest with you, when you come out of the gates and 60 days later, you're already making money and you're doing well, and you just have to grow it, right? And you just have to just do what you did. This one, we broke the marketing, and you will understand this, right? There are a lot of digital marketers out there. There are really few that are very, very good. Right. And they all think they understood our concept, and not one of them really understood it. And part of our problem is we knew what we built, we couldn't articulate it, so but simultaneously, we're having members come in and they're loving it, and they're bringing their friends, and so we were growing once again organically, and I think a lot of that had to do with what Madeline instilled. We're going to deliver this exceptional experience, this environment. I mean, we did everything. We actually literally used to hand wash, soak towels in lavender, right? Roll them. Our daughters hated us because they ended up doing it as well.
Where did you get the lavender concept? That's really unique. Yeah.
It's a women thing, right? We love the spa feel.
Okay.
You know, it's that those little things that make that experience.
Yeah.
Little
touches.
It.
Okay.
Yeah, those little things, and women are all about the candle, the smell, the pretty lights. You know, we're all about that. And so I knew that's how I would like to be. That's how I like it, right? So I knew that through me, I was able to deliver that experience.
What's a big mistake you guys think you made that made you better than?
There's so many.
There were a lot. Other than opening it, no.
No, I mean opening. Well, you know what? Opening might have been but servicing these women, the way we serve them, the way we love them, and the life-changing opportunities that we've had and we've delivered has been the most rewarding piece. And I think that's the reason why we stay with it, you know?
Yeah.
But from a standpoint of, mistakes, you know what? I tell you what, it is not giving up and pivoting here and there, trying to find what was best, and not sticking with the what we knew it was best. We just have to perfect it every single time, and we were impatient, right? So we got distracted with all things and the noise, right? And all the things that others were trying to do, instead of continue to be in that blue ocean instead of the red ocean, we did not follow through with that. And let me tell you, that was the biggest mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We should have continue our course.
When did you realize to get back on course and then do what you guys do?
After COVID.
Yeah.
After COVID?
Yeah.
Okay. So that brings us a good segue. How did you guys survive COVID? How was that as a small business owner, especially with a business where people have to get together?
Yeah.
They shut you guys down, obviously.
Yes.
What was that like? I guess?
Well, on our way up to the summit, COVID hit, right? But we survived it no different than everybody else, right? I mean, everybody had to shut down. People were scared. We were treated as if we were a box gym with a whole bunch of people, when in reality we were a very unique boutique studio with only 16 in class that are not even clustered at any given point.
Right.
But we have to follow the rules, right? And so, we had to shut down. We lost really good coaches in the process. We lost pretty much over 60% of our members. We lost them, and so we had to rebuild, just like everybody else, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think how did we get through it is an interesting question. First, we were blessed that the other business was thriving. And with all candor, I mean, because we were feeding money into it. I think there's probably 3, maybe 4 reasons why we made it through. I think the first is we were loyal to our employees, and we were loyal to our members. And while some people, listen, they were getting laid off, they weren't working either. They couldn't afford to stay, paying, and we put everybody on hold. I mean, we literally stopped getting revenue for a while, and then we opened up at Unlimited. So I think that loyalty was something that was really important. I think the other couple things were, one, this business was more than a fitness studio to Madeline. It was a calling for her. I think when she looks at the successes that she's had in her career, whether it be in corporate or now as a person that is business for self, she looked at it as that she wanted to help empower women. It's the reason why one of our things is powerful beyond measure. The studio was built on a concept. The fitness portion was the vehicle to use to reach an audience. And I think, if I may digress, I think one of the mistakes that we made is we really didn't embrace that concept strong enough initially. We knew what we had. Anybody that walked into our studio walked in thinking, first thoughts, it's a franchise because we built it right.
Right. I thought so too.
Then the second is that, they would come in and take a class and they couldn't believe how well it was put together. It was on time. Our coaches did a phenomenal job. So we wanted to have that experience for our members. I think the other thing is we were blessed that the other business was doing well.
Right.
But I think the fourth was, and I think this is really the unspoken reason why, we didn't let it get between us.
When it was shut down, right?
A failing business can damage the relationship. And we didn't let it. And we just, trust me, we had the conversations, and off of this, I was telling you, it was always on the table to not proceed, because we had to be honest with ourselves. But we never let the business the negative part of the business infect our personal relationship. And I think that is probably the strongest part of the foundation of our businesses, is that it's not just us, it's everything else, but we didn't let it damage that. And so I think that was probably that was the foundation of why we stayed open.
Wow. I think people need to hear that. That was awesome. How long did it take to get back to where you were pre-COVID? Or are you back to where you were pre-COVID?
We're not back yet.
Okay.
We're climbing.
And crying.
And crying. No, but what we decided is, that first part of the year that coming out of COVID, we didn't do much tinkering. We wanted to see, is it still viable, right? And then it was it literally was a conversation of, we were looking at some other businesses, and we were having a conversation, and this is one of the things that we do a lot, right, is we separate everything and we just have this pragmatic discussion that can move into the emotion of it, but we really just had a discussion. And I remember saying this. I said, here we're willing to open up a brand new business, build out a brick and mortar. And I said, and I got a business that's 50% already there. I said, why wouldn't I do that? And I said, I know what this can deliver. And so in that process, we made the decision to relaunch and kind of bring in different services, and really invest into it, change our model a little bit from a standpoint of our staff to make us stronger. And interestingly enough, all at this time, we were given another blessing, and that was we landed a corporate account that we have a trainer work at for 19 sessions a week.
Oh, wow.
That is a guaranteed payment.
How did they find you?
That you'd have to ask her.
So, when people turn down opportunities, others will embrace them.
Right.
That's how. So, because we're not a corporate franchise, right, and there's no protocol, they send an email. They were desperate. They sent an email asking if we would take on the contract, and
just out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Okay.
It was an email, and people recommended us. That was really interesting. They sent them our way, and that's how they got a hold of us.
Did you believe it when you first read it?
I believe anything.
Okay. Sure.
You know, I approach things, well, not everything, but I approach things in a very positive way,
Okay.
you know. And so I read it and I just sent a message back, hey, if you're still interested, I would like to have a discussion and see if this is a mutual fit. And right away, I got a call and said, yes, you know, we're really desperate. And I love really serving people. That is my love language. And I put it together in the short period of time that they gave me. They weren't ready, but we were. Mm-hmm. And it didn't matter if they weren't, we were. Because that's what I committed to, you know? And so, because we had to do background checks and all these different things, it's a very secure place. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into that corporate job. I mean, it was just...
So you go there and you...
So yeah, I have a dedicated the coach that goes there and train their employees.
On site?
Yeah.
On site, yeah.
And this is a thing. I didn't realize this.
It is a thing.
Okay.
It is a thing.
Is this a new revenue stream for you guys?
It is a new revenue stream, yeah.
Well, it's an answer to a prayer as well, but that's a
Right.
whole other story.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your future outlook for the Hook then?
So we are getting ready to get it franchise ready.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And so we're, you know, dividing roles. We're putting processes in place. So this would be just no different than a franchise from a process perspective, but still privately owned. And so the opportunities are endless, right? So we could take it to the next level and expand and franchise it. Not really sure if that's the route we want to go, or if there's an investor that wants to invest and help us expand it, I'll be open to that as well. But you know, right now we're just focusing on making it run like a well-oiled machine.
Right.
That is my number one focus, making sure that we have all the processes in place, that we have the best customer experience. You know, that is my number one focus. And make sure that we build a culture of coaches that are truly going to follow the culture that we have in
Right.
place here.
Right. And then I know we were talking earlier, and there's another business idea that you guys want to get into, right?
Well,
Which one?
which one? I mean,
Well, please
so-
explain. Yeah.
So-
two right now. So you have
So we
B&N
have
and the Hook.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
we founded B&N and the Hook from scratch.
Right.
Okay. And we're very, very glad that we did that, because now we can say that we're founders of businesses, right? And if we sell it, we're still founders. But then we decided that we don't want to get into the founding business anymore, that we would entertain franchises that are aligned with this founding business.
Okay.
So for B&N, the insurance company that we just launched a couple of weeks ago, that is an incredible alignment because it is the real estate market. And then we have recently purchased a territory for Dallas and Tarrant County for the Drip Bar.
Okay.
And so that aligns with the Hook.
Can you
of
tell us
Health
what the
and
Drip
Wellness.
Bar is?
Sure.
Okay.
So the Drip Bar is an IV therapy solution
Okay.
that works at a cellular level. One of the best opportunities out there that are for the Drip Bar. The Drip Bar is the Drip Bar. It is a 797 compliant, you know, probably one of the only Drip Bars out there that can say that. You know, we focus on medical grade IVs that are much needed right now for, you know, for after COVID, a lot of immune system and things like that. They do work very closely together with cancer patients. And so that's what really excited me about the whole thing, because they really focus on the medical side of it.
Okay. So
you know?
if I was a customer, I would go there and you would give me a solution
Yes.
intravenously.
Absolutely.
For
So-
whatever reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So they work with 503A and compounding a pharmacy, right, and 503B, which it's specific to you, or the 503A, and the B is one that can be done, without a prescription.
So you want to do this whole holistic health?
I do.
regimen.
I am very
Okay.
big into holistic approach. That has always been my thing. I don't take medications. I take care of myself. I eat well, and I take my supplements, and I don't stress.
So how many businesses now so far?
That's 4.
This is 4, right?
That's 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
but David, tell him about your.
Well, I think before we get into that, I am looking at doing some consulting, and I'm going through the process of figuring what that's going to look like. And it's specifically going to be more helping people into the franchise space.
Okay.
But what I'm more excited about talking about is ultimately what we're trying to build as together. So one of the processes we're going through now is a branding of Madeline and David.
Okay.
And with that, we're looking to develop, and we're in the process, and we've outlined it all, a mastermind and then a coaching and course working with couples, most likely very similar to what we were coming out of corporate, but helping them as they want to embark in going into the entrepreneurial space or for a business for self, and helping them optimize the business as well as their relationship.
Okay.
And we're really excited about that. It's been a kind of an interesting journey, and at first we didn't, we really were just going in. We do a lot of education for ourselves, and we invest in us. So we invested into what was called a brand strategy day. And it was really interesting because we walked in thinking we just really wanted to take this idea of Madeline and David creating an umbrella with these other 4 businesses under.
Right.
Well, we go in and we meet with the strategist, and we never got that answer, man. But what we did come out with was the framework for this idea of helping couples optimize, going into business for themselves and optimizing their business and their relationships. And we were really excited about it. And it was funny because this was not at all what we were thinking about doing.
Right.
But as we started talking to, peers and friends that are in business together, and I think some own franchises and some don't, they're like, yeah, we would participate in that. We would take that course. We would be in a mastermind for that. And we're like, really, why? Well, because you guys just do it really well. And, most of them don't understand how we keep certain aspects of our relationship going, yet running successful businesses.
Right.
Because usually it's a little bit more this tilted this way one day and tilts the other way the other day, and then you get frustration over on this side, or you're losing money on this side. And so it's really kind of what I guess our journey has taken us to, and that's what we're looking to launch in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, and we're embracing every bit of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So are you getting managers to run the other businesses? I
Yes.
guess?
Yes.
Okay.
So we were very fortunate. Our oldest daughter runs B&N for the most part. I mean, there's some parts that I haven't quite given to her yet,
Okay.
but that's okay. But she from a daily operational perspective, she does phenomenal.
How many employees at BNN right now?
We have now with the market shift, we're about 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
7, but that's in the operation.
Yeah.
So we manage to about 3,000 contractors
Yeah.
nationwide.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then obviously here at the Hook, we're kind of going through this transition, and we're hiring. We just hired or brought on our general manager.
Okay.
And then we'll have a head coach, general manager, and then our coaches. So the day-to-day operations, I think that, you never really leave the businesses, right? You always have to be in touch, and you always have to be working with them. But day-to-day stuff we can relinquish. The insurance agency, we have a designated agency principal that runs pretty much the day-to-day of that already. That's kind of in its infancy stages. So right now that's taking a little bit more of my time helping grow, using our network to get opportunities, right? But even there, it's everything that we do, we try to do where we're out capturing business, right, from whether it's a consumer or another business. And one of the things that we always teach is that, we'll take a no just as graciously as a yes. And I want all of our team members to understand what that means every day, because to me, it's not about the money. It's about delivering this exceptional experience. And if we do that, everything will take care of itself.
Right.
So those things are happening. The drip bar is a little bit different from the area development. It's a little bit involvement, a little bit of marketing, but we're really there more of in a support mechanism at this point. So we, interestingly enough, have a little time to build out this concept, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. Why not?
Wow. All right, so 4 businesses, another one coming. Where do you guys see yourself in 5 years?
At the beach. No, seriously. I mean, so the intent here is that we do create generational wealth for our children.
Right.
And obviously for us, as we age, very critical and very important to me that our daughters, we're not a burden to them. And that we create that opportunity for us to take care of ourselves and still be healthy and age gracefully,
right?
Because we don't want that responsibility on them, right? But yet when we do go, that we leave them with everything, all the legacy that we have created for them. Yeah. That's the intent. So where exactly will we see ourselves in 5 years? Where? I have no idea. No idea. From that standpoint, where would we physically be?
Right.
Okay. Because you know what does it matter? I live in the now. This is it. The future, it'll be there. It'll be what it'll be.
Ready for the other opinion on it? No, just kidding. No, I agree with that. What I was going to say is, though, but we'll always be moving forward, right? And, we'll conquer these hurdles, and we'll find new hurdles to go over. Yeah. One of the things I think that's critical for anybody, but I think for us, and I leverage my folks from this standpoint, is always keep your mind working, always stay active. Longevity will be there, but I don't see myself retiring. I don't see that. I mean, I guess it could happen, but even then, what does that mean? Because there's always something to do. Give more of your time, right? I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but we're platinum sponsors for the Grace Gala. Madeline gives us her time at their clinic.
What's the Grace Gala again?
Well, the Grace is actually it's a organization here locally that serves the community through transitional housing. They have a clinic for the people that can't really afford the medical bills and things. They have a pantry. They have a store, isn't it, a thrift store? So they have many different things that we are very passionate about. So I do give my time for and just go there and translate for the Hispanic community, which I absolutely love doing because I learned so much, and then it makes me realize how blessed I really am. Right. So yeah.
So I love y'all's story. I like the fact that you want to serve the customer. That's your main goal. I like the fact that you guys are always trying to learn new things. That's incredible. So let's end with this. For all the entrepreneurs out there, people on the cusp of starting something, and they don't know what to do, or they don't know how to do it, what's your tips and advice for them?
Get help. Seriously.
Not in the way that could have come out, right?
Yeah, no, seriously, there's so much information out there for free.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so many people that will help you invest in your learning, invest in a very good business coach. That is a must. Sure, you can do it on your own, and it'll take you a little longer to get there. You'll get there, it'll be clunky. It depends on what your goals and objectives are. For me, had I known then what I know now, I would have invested in somebody that would have guided me through the process and helped me to get there much faster.
Right.
That would be my advice to anybody that's getting into business.
Yeah.
Set aside money to invest in a coach that will help you get there faster.
Okay.
I agree with that. I think that alone is not just to somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur. That's anybody in life. They should invest in themselves, grow every day. I think that Madeline said something, there is a wealth of knowledge out there. And I think that the thing that I would tell people is know your why. If your why is strong and you deliver on it, don't worry about the money. The money will come. Too many people go into business because they think they're going to get rich quick. That's the exception. Look at the statistics. Most small businesses don't make it. So have a concrete purpose and believe in your purpose and deliver. If you do that, you'll be successful.
And don't give up. If you really believe in what the purpose, don't give up, because you never know when you're going to hit goal. Seriously, it's just the most incredible thing.
Yeah. So that's a great point. So there's a great book. It's called 3 Feet from Gold. If you've read Napoleon Hill, if you haven't, you should, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur. But it really talks about this whole concept of how close are you, and you never know how close you really are unless you quit, because then you're never going to get there. So you look at the hook. We think we're 3 feet from gold.
Yeah.
So that's really a strong statement, is not to give up, because right when you think it's time to give up, it's time to push forward even further. If you have a really good why and you have a good thing. If it's a bad decision, then it's just a bad decision. But I would tell anybody to read that book. There's some other books I would tell you to read, but that one for sure, because that one really tells you you're not always going to be successful right away. And that's what I think is so unique about our story, is we had one that was right out the gates. And then we had another one, not so much.
Yeah.
Right? But we still believe in it. We still believe in our why, and our purpose is strong. And so therefore we'll continue it. So I think that's probably the strongest thing I could give anybody that was budding to go into business for themselves.
Well, I think that's the perfect ending. Thank you so much. This was really cool to listen to. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And I'm going to reach out to you again in a while and see where you guys are, because I think this is something that we need to talk about some more. So thank you guys.
Thank you
All right.
for having us.